I track what I wear every single day. In fact, I've been doing that since June of 2020. I initially started because I wanted to track my cost per wear, so how much a piece of clothing has cost me per times I have worn it. And I started doing that when I revamped my wardrobe. Basically, I got rid of a bunch of fast fashion things, and I also stopped buying fast fashion for a really long time, and I started buying better quality things and then tracking how much wear I would actually get out of them. But there are a bunch of benefits aside from that to tracking your wardrobe. A lot of the time we think we know what our style is, but when we look into our tracked wardrobe, sometimes we get to see that what we wear is not actually exactly what we are imagining. And sometimes we also have this idea that we wear something a lot, and in fact we don't. The mind can really play a trick on you when it comes to basically anything, and your wardrobe and how much you wear your things are no different. If you're here for the first time, hello, my name is Naja, and my channel is all about tracking my wardrobe and being mindful with my style and what I add to my closet. But if you are a regular to my channel, you definitely know that I track my wardrobe, and this will be the first video where I actually go over how I go about doing that. I did start out with a spreadsheet, but quickly found that it was such a mess for me to keep track of, and so I decided to using an app instead. And the app that I landed on is the one called Stylebook, which you can find in the App Store. I landed on Stylebook because it comes closest to having the majority of the functions that I want to use when it comes to tracking my wardrobe. So with this video, I want to go through how I go about using the app personally for my wardrobe. And when you first download the app and open the front screen, within the app there are a bunch of functions, but I only use 3 of them, and they are the closet, the calendar, and then the style stats. So first of all, you have your closet. This is where you'll add everything that you own. You can add your own categories and your own subcategories, and of course you can also decide what you want to add and not. So for example, for me, I don't add accessories. I've never really done that. I've tried it a couple of times, but I just find that if I do that on top of everything else, I just don't want to track every day, so I don't do it. It's up to you to add your own things to the app, and you do that by pressing the little plus you find in the corner. What I do is that I tend to save the product picture from the website, and then I add it directly into the app. The app has this function that it will turn your picture into a PNG, so basically it will just remove the background for you. A lot of the time it'll do this automatically for you, but you can also do it yourself. Then after you save the picture, there are a bunch of informations that you can add to the app about that item as well. And you have the color, you have the fabric, you have the size, you have the season. I don't use that. Then you have the brand, the status is also something I don't use. Then you have the price, and then at the end, of course, the price per wear, or the cost per wear. This statistic, along with others, the app takes care of totally by itself, and it does that by you adding the things that you wear to your calendar. And so if we take a look at my calendar, here I'll add everything that I wear every single day. There are quite a few days where I haven't put in anything, and that is just because I have either been sick, or I have been quarantining, or just for some other reasons I've only been wearing a loungewear that day. And loungewear is another thing I don't track. I also don't track my activewear. I only want to be tracking the things that I actually care about finding the statistics about. I only track my everyday wear because it's the only thing I am interested in tracking. My active and loungewear gets more than enough wear. It's not something I've ever tended to overbuy, so there's really no point for me personally to include it in the app. Then you will see on my app, on like the monthly overlook, I tend to only add the pieces one by one. Here you can add like a full look, but you do have to actually create that look and add it to a folder, and a lot of the time I don't want to do that. It's time consuming. I don't care about the looks. The only plus for me is that I get this little full picture of an outfit that I've actually worn. So that doesn't look so great in the monthly view, but when you do press any day, you get to see what I wore that day. The thing is also, since using this app is only for me, it's only me who visits it, there's really no point in adding extra work into it that I won't appreciate or necessarily care about. So of course, if creating looks is something you want to do, then you should definitely do that. And I do think that within the app, there would have been a smarter way going about these looks, because there are quite a few functions to the app that I find not necessarily super user-friendly. The thing with looks is also that you have to make a new one every time you wear a new shoe, every time you, like if you're tracking your accessory, you have to add that anew every single time, and then you also have to add that look to a folder, and for me it's too much work. I don't think it's possible to do that in a really structured way. For me, it just becomes a little bit too overwhelming. I did do it at once, but at this point I don't really like it. Also because when I do declutter something, all of those looks become obsolete, and then I have to move them away because I can't delete the looks, because if I delete the look, I also delete it from my calendar. So there are a few things within the app that aren't necessarily super optimized to how I would have liked to use it, and then I tend to just not use that function. But if you decide on downloading the app, some of these things are probably gonna be worth doing to you, and there are probably also things within the app that I do that you wouldn't want to do. That's just total personal preference. Then we come to what is arguably, at least to me, the most interesting part of the app, and it is the style statistics. Here you get a lot of information, such as total item count, you get your total closet value, you have a color bar, or like you get to see exactly how many things you have in each color, which I think is such a smart function to include in the app. Then you can see for yourself what else is there, but the things that I tend to use the most from the style stats are the top cost per wear and the worst cost per wears. If you go in here, you have a oversight over the 50 best and worst cost per wears that you have. The thing about this though is that if I declutter something, like for example, you can see within the app you have my Levi's jeans, which I decluttered way more than a year ago. But again, I don't get to delete this item from my wardrobe without completely losing the item. And so even items that are now decluttered are also part of this list. That I think is kind of a shame. So as you use the app with time, you definitely you lose out a little bit on the most updated version of your wardrobe. But actually I find that that doesn't really matter. I tend to not really view it from here. I tend to more go into like the calendar or the closet, and then I'll click an item, just whatever item I want, click the picture, and then here you will get the cost per wear, and the app will also tell you how many times you did in fact wear the item and when the last time you wore that item was, which I also think is an interesting piece of information it gives you. So within the app, these are the functions that I use. It's pretty simplistic in some way, the app, but it does its main job, and for that I absolutely love it. I also love having the visuals of seeing my actual clothes rather than having a spreadsheet where most of the time things are just written out. I think for a lot of people that will be enough, but for someone who loves data but also is very visual, I think an app like that is so far the right way for me to track my wardrobe. If you liked this video and you're not already subscribed, consider doing that, because I do plan on making a bunch more videos specifically on tracking your wardrobe, more than what I already include in my other videos. And here is a couple of other videos from me that you can watch next. I'll see you in the next video.